let's finish rigging the landing gear. So we only have a few more steps. What we need to do next is create a driven key between our user data and the two weight channels of our constraint. So let's go ahead and grab the animation controls. We can get to our expand collapse channel. We'll go ahead and right click and choose set driver. And now going back to our constraint, we'll go ahead and select the first channel here, the weight channel that is. Let's go ahead and right click and choose set driven absolute. Of course, that value now equals 0 because that's the same value of our user data. Okay, let's say we go ahead and take a look at what has been created, what has been added to our scene. You can see that now we have this null object named expression, simply because we have tied to custom channels. So we have this extra node added. Let's go ahead and take this and add this to our main group. And then from there we can go ahead and rename this to EXPR landing gear. And I'll add a 01 at the end. If we were to take a look at our Espresso tag, again you can see it's already renamed. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. Here's our arrange node. So half of our constraint weight is taken care of. You can see that if I were to just minimize the Espresso editor and the objects manager, if I were to just go in and select the constraint and go ahead and lock this attributes manager down, I'll now go ahead and select our animation control, go ahead and create a copy of the attributes manager, go ahead and kind of unlock this, just so we can go ahead and load in our user data. I'll lock this down, and let's take a look at our weight. So you can see that currently we have control over the first channel, but right now we need to set up a link between the second. And we need to make sure its value goes in reverse. Now, the really neat thing about the range mapper node is that we can instantly set up the inverse to this. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'll go back to the Espresso editor, and what we'll do is go ahead and clone our current range mapper. Let's go ahead and take the expand collapse and wire that into its input. And now let's go ahead and create another weight channel for our constraint node. So I'll go to the import side. Next, we'll need to go ahead and find the PSR strength, or excuse me, target weight. All right, so both weight channels have been added. Now, right now, this is kind of confusing. We don't know which weight is what. So remember, we can rename our ports. Let's go ahead and do that. The first port here is for our open null. So let's go ahead and right click and choose rename port, and that's going to be weight underscore open. And the second one, of course, will be weight close. All right, so now we can go ahead and take the output of our second range mapper and wire that into the import channel of weight close. So right now you can see that both will move at the same time. All right, we could go ahead and start to drive our values. So how can we flip this then? Well, very simple. Selecting the range mapper node, I'll go ahead and unlock the attributes manager here. If we were to select this node, notice we can go ahead and turn on reverse. So now what this is going to do, if we were to go ahead and go back to our constraints properties, and then go ahead and lock this down, notice now that our values will move in reverse. So if I were to set the expand to 0, you can see that now the close is in effect and open is now set to 0. Really exciting stuff. So here's what we can do with this. Take a look at our landing gear. Well, you go ahead and zoom into it. I'm just going to press the O key. But again, take a look at our landing gear. Watch what happens now when we start to use our expand collapse channel. You can see that now we have a way to open and close it. And what's great is that since we have tied those two nulls to our pod group, we can now start to control the landing gear exactly the way we'd need to. Again, very exciting. All right, so to bring our pod back, if we have rotated it, we could always go to Character, Commands, and choose Reset PSR as long as we have frozen transforms. Beautiful. So, in this lesson, we have finished rigging our landing gear, and we've also learned a really cool technique to blend between different states. And in this case, we use that technique to create some really nice control here. So that's going to finish this lesson. Now, I would like to point out that with your null objects, you may want to go ahead and hide those. What you can do is either hide them via layer, or you can simply do so from your attributes manager. So since we're done with them, you could always go to the attributes manager here. I'll go ahead and unlock the panel down, select the null, and then you can go to object and simply switch the display to none. So that's just another choice you have. But either way, once this is finished up, we can now move to a new topic in the next lesson, and that will be joints.